Hello and welcome to Around the Ice on Fantasy and Frames, Week 14 of the NHL hockey season. Holidays got us a little messed up on what we were doing, but we're back on schedule Tuesday nights, 9:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central Time. We got the boys all back together, me and Toast and Aaron, ready to roll. Stick with us here on Around the Ice on Fantasy and Frames. Fellas, welcome in. The holiday season is over. Trying to get back into that regular schedule. I know you guys are more scheduled guys than me. My schedule's always wild, but trying to get back to the normal days, the normal times. Hey, fantasy football season's over, guys. It's full on hockey season now. It's full on hockey, full bore the rest of the year. Now I'm 100% attention on my hockey teams. Ready to roll. How you guys doing? How was the holidays?
Well, I'm glad the holidays are over, JT. We can get back in that swing of every Tuesday at 8:30 Central, 9:30 Eastern. Get back in the groove of just normalcy. Watching hockey for sure. We got a lot of close matchups to talk about tonight. Lots of action happening around the league, and this is crunch time for a lot of people in their fantasy hockey leagues where we're in week 14. A lot of leagues are probably going to go somewhere around 19, 20, 21 weeks for the regular season. So it's crunch time there. More reason to actually listen to Fantasy and Frames Around the Ice. We'll help you guys finish strong in your leagues.
Yeah, we got 6 out of 8 games going right now are barn burners down to the wire. We've got 1 game already over. We got 2 more to come late. Oilers already getting the 4-0 victory over the Bruins earlier tonight. Winnipeg, the other one right now, Winnipeg's the other one's way up. They're up 3-1. Nashville just scored in that one, but it's only the second period. Still 3 minutes left. But we've got a lot of great games going right now. My Red Wings, 2 minutes left, 2-2 with Ottawa. Rangers and Dallas 4-4, Columbus, Pittsburgh 3-3, Carolina, Tampa 2-2, Toronto, Philly 2-2, St. Louis, Minnesota 4-3. So we've got ourselves a bunch of good games going on right now. And then later on tonight here in about 30 minutes, you got the Flames taking on the Ducks, and in about an hour, you got the Golden Knights taking on the Sharks. Aaron, how things going, man? Me and Toast did a random Monday afternoon show without you. You were busy. You were, work got in the way. You had stuff to do.
Yeah.
Me and Toast threw a random one because we knew the Wives weren't going to let us jump on a podcast on New Year's Eve. So we jumped on a Monday afternoon podcast. People trying to stay together, trying to not get divorced here. So we're like, we're doing a Monday afternoon podcast. Glad to have you back, man. How's things going?
Yeah, great. It was good timing too, because right into the afternoon game when they had to bump the Winter Classic up a day. So good to see you guys on that day too, walking into that game. Terrible outcome. With Hawks getting booed off the ice, but they've had some better games since. I'll say that. I happen to be another guy in our league, and I had the opportunity. We went up, got some tickets. The Barstool Spit and Chicklets podcast. They did a live show in Chicago. So the weekend before, going right as part of the Winter Classic, TNT had the game and all that. So it was really cool to check that out live and surprise guest of Wayne Gretzky. So I was telling Toast a little bit about that. It's pretty cool. We were probably maybe 10 rows back, and then for Gretz to come out, it was pretty cool. So they did a little Q&A. He got the crowd going, and a lot of fun. Good hockey time up there. Good hockey crew. But the best part was to commiserate with other Blackhawks fans, because again, going into that Winter Classic, I think locally here, obviously, the Bears just beat Green Bay, but just as a sports city, the great sports city that Chicago is, we've just had a kind of down on our luck. None of our teams are winning. So just to kind of know that you're not out there alone. Sometimes those games you're feeling a little bit lonely, like, man, what are we going to, 6 years? It's a long drought, and just kind of bouncing some ideas, looking around, just having that I guess misery loves company, but good time all around. And nice to get back into the swing, like you guys said, though. Nice to get back in the swing. January is usually the kind of lull when it comes to NHL games, but for fantasy, not really, because, like you said, Toast, we're gearing up. You're starting to see that playoff a little bit. Maybe that 12 wins in our home league, trying to get to that magic number so you get a spot, and then anything's possible. So good time.
Before we get into crazy things and get into the show, what we're actually getting. Tell me what I don't know if you guys read this. I read a lot of stuff about the Winter Classic, and a lot of people were not happy. It got some of the worst ratings it's ever gotten. Way, way, way down from years past. Now, couple factors in there. It's been a solo game on New Year's Day the last couple times. They moved it this year to New Year's Eve, which was a packed slate. Packed NHL slate. I think there was 10, 12 games. It was a packed slate, and they were like a random 4:00 game in the middle of the afternoon. People been talking about it. It's like they did Wrigley again. They did Blackhawks Blues again because they've done them in the past. I think the Blackhawks are the number one team that's been in the Winter Classic. I know Blackhawks fans in this mix. What do you guys think? Did you think that they kind of missed the boat on having other teams, especially the Blackhawks, kind of being down, playing the Blues before, say mix it up? Any ideas on like how they can make it better? Do you think it was just one of those random things? Blackhawks bad, not on New Year's Day by itself. Give me your guys' thoughts.
Yeah, JT, a combination of all that, and I'll just kind of be bold about it. Is the Blackhawks have had the most Winter Classic games and the most outdoor games of anybody in the NHL since they started doing this. And this year, it was quite obvious that they announced this last year, and the Hawks were going to be in there. And this is nothing more than a money grab by the NHL to actually promote an up-and-coming superstar and Connor Bedard. That's it to me. The Hawks didn't deserve to actually have this game, and the way they actually come out and they played was atrocious. They don't deserve to have it for a long time now. And this is really not just a disgruntled Hawk fan actually talking. This is just reality. So I was kind of shocked they had it here to begin with. Shouldn't be, considering the NHL is just actually just wanting to again get in there and do a money grab with there's nobody sexy that's actually on the Blues. Jordan Kyrou is actually a nice player. He's not a superstar. There's no up and coming superstars on that team, even though they actually have some nice pieces. This was them wanting to actually promote this at Wrigley Field, and then actually wanting to promote Connor Bedard because this was a year in the making, and too early for that. They looked atrocious. It was just awful. It was a low point in the rebuild, in my opinion.
Yeah, Aaron, did you feel kind of the same way that this was just like, they were pushing this game when it was like it had no sex appeal whatsoever?
Yeah, and I don't know what the gate draw is. I mean, I know they sold. If they didn't sell every seat at Wrigley, they came close. So I don't know if that was, obviously, maybe that was it. But couldn't agree more with you, Toast. I think it was Bedard that he exceeded the expectation. But yeah, as far as two teams that just the game really didn't mean much. I mean, I guess maybe if the Blues have this resurgence and they make a playoff spot, which they look good in the game, and they've played well since. I don't know what the score is tonight, or even if they're playing tonight, but they've looked good since. So if maybe but that's a post game narrative. Like if the Blues make the play, you can go back to this game and okay, yeah, but that'd be in hindsight. As far as it goes, no. I mean, if you could have had a perfect scenario now. Of course, Ovi broke his leg, so there was huge risk that he wouldn't have played. But I think that would have been a lot cooler to put Ovechkin, let Washington host. I don't know where, but I mean, obviously you they draw well. They're playing an amazing year. amazing season this season. But how do you predict that? So I think you could probably have predicted the Hawks are going to suck for a while. Why they don't deserve it. So I'm right there with you, Toast. Yeah, they don't deserve it as a team, and who cares? But I would rather see Ovi.
I'll throw this out there and see what you guys think. Almost like the flex schedule in the NFL now, where late in the year they flex games and do some stuff. Don't you think they could put 5 or 6 games on the docket, thinking about them preseason, going who's going to be good, what would be a nice matchup, and then when they get a month out, they've already got tickets for the game. So if you already got season ticket holder, you all got that, and then you're boom. Because I don't know about anybody else, but it's almost impossible to plan stuff 6 months in advance, 8 months in advance. You just don't know. So most people don't make decisions till a month out, 2 weeks out. You can't make a decision a month out to switch a game and go okay, you're on the list. You have the stadium open in case we want to do it. And then we make a decision a month out and make something like an OV, have it the Capitals versus somebody, a game that's already going to be close on the schedule, somewhere around that time. I know it's a little bit of a logistical nightmare. I understand that, but that's why these guys are getting paid the big bucks. That's why they have multi-million-dollar TV contracts. You got to make this game more important than that. I love Connor Bedard. I think it's a great story, but the Blackhawks are bad. They've had that game a million times. It was a middle of the afternoon on a 4:00 game when everything else was. I mean, dude, I was in my basement with college basketball on, hockey on, football on. I had a million things going. I had that game on, but I was not paying much attention to that game. They've got to do a better job of kind of setting that up as a preeminent event. Don't you guys think?
Yeah, in years past, I think they've done a good job with that, having a New Year's Day game, right? And that's I was shocked actually here about a week out that it was on New Year's Eve, in a New Year's Day game. You usually would watch that. I would anyway. The outdoor game, and then I would maybe get ready for the Rose Bowl, right, or something like that in an early evening. And having to also compete with all the other sports at the same time. And JT, there were college playoff games going on at that time, I would assume, right? Just not a good decision. Now, obviously, if you just talk about naturally just flexing games, kind of like the NFL. And let's say just not the Winter Classic, but just flexing games in general, you hit it on the head, JT. It is a logistics nightmare for hockey anyway, because you can't really move games to another day because you're sharing arenas. You're sharing arenas with basketball.
Yeah. Well,
they're predetermined. It's difficult.
Shouldn't they have a list of 4 or 5 teams they're super interested in? As soon as the season starts, they get about a quarter of the way through. They're okay, these teams are good. These teams are bad. Let's move this team that already has a home game that we were expecting to have a home game on that date. Let's now move it to the outdoor arena that they've already talked to the people in advance. Hey, we can make this outdoor. Because again, let's be honest. If you're having an outdoor game in the winter, there ain't outdoor concerts. We're not, we're not fighting a music venue concert or something outdoors at this time. So I know it's more of a pain in the ass. I absolutely 100% understand that. You got to do something though. It's got to almost be more of a short list of hey, these are the ones we're thinking. Let's see, and make a decision even 2 months out. Oh, this team's not very good, or this team is let's do something. I don't know. I just feel in the past, a game felt so special. It felt so special. I didn't feel that this year. I know, Toast, me and you talked about buying tickets and going, and we kind of looked at it and we're man, there's a ton of other games we could go to for a third of the price that we'd rather go to. So it was, and even watching the game on TV, in the crowds, I've been to a concert at Wrigley and obviously a baseball game there, plenty of baseball games there, but I've been to a concert at Wrigley and it wasn't fantastic, as far as the seating, how it worked. I don't know how it was for fans at the game. I didn't actually talk to anyone who went to the game. And I usually know a bunch of people that go to events like that. I didn't talk to anyone who went to the game, but watching it on TV, the seating looked awful. I don't know how they had it set up, but it did not look like it was very fan friendly on the way they had it set up. Now, maybe I'm wrong. If somebody went to the game, hit us up in the comments, let us know. If it looked good, it was awesome. From watching it on TV, it did not look great. That's just my 2 cents.
And Wrigley, like to your point, JT. I mean, I saw a Pearl Jam up there, but I our seats weren't great. But we watched the jumbotron most of the time. So, so I don't know. Again,
I saw a Pearl Jam there as well. So I watched I was the same way. I was up in the upper deck watching the jumbotron the whole time. But like, I can understand that in a concert, but man, doing that for a sporting event.
I know that would be my first question. Like, did you watch the jumbotron more than you watched the product on the ice? Because I just don't know. I know when they did it Wrigley, I had a real close friend that went to the first one. It was when they played the Capitals. The first game of Wrigley. I have to ask him about that. Just, hey, what was the experience? Because I assume the ice was set up the same way. I know they played a couple college games too there, so they had more games there. But yeah, I think they announced the next one in Miami. Is that right? I think, unless it's still a rumor, I don't know if the NHL's actually confirmed.
I haven't heard that.
That's what I heard. The Marlins Stadium will host the Panthers in Tampa, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I had a buddy go, and he left in the second period, and I didn't blame him.
Oh, really?
He's like, what should we do? I'm like, go to the hockey barn. So
play some bubble hockey.
Yeah. I'm like, go to the bar, get out of there. It was the only time during this rebuild where I was yelling at the television. It was bad. They legitimately looked like they were hungover. They looked like they're hungover. Think about when you've actually been hungover and actually moving around and just you're dead to the world. That they legitimately looked hungover. And
Toast,
maybe they were.
Toast, I always think of the scene in Varsity Blues when they all go to the strip club for the night, and then they walk out in the morning in the light. They're like rubbing their eyes, like, "Oh my God, it's light outside. What time is it?" And then they like have to play a football game their night, and they're just like so out of it. Like, that always makes me think of that. It's like when guys are just like totally out of it. I'm like, the guy stayed out all night, and now can't concentrate. So I was like, I know how it goes. All right. So I brought that up. That was not something we had on the show sheet, but I just want to talk about that. Jamie, what's up, guys? He's here for the hockey fights. He always loves the high fights. Thanks for joining us, Jamie. We appreciate it. Jamie says his all-time favorite game is Mighty Ducks against Iceland. Ducks won tournament, game-winning save. Yes. Absolutely, Jamie. Thanks for joining us. Classic. We appreciate it. Guys, you know what time it is? Time to go around the NHL.
Oh, the good old hockey game is the best game you can name. And the best game you can name is the good old hockey game.
Hey!
Here we go. I'm going around the NHL tonight. Big win for the Red Wings. Patrick Kane with a power play goal in overtime gets the win for the Wings. 5 straight. Holy crap, is this team going to pull it together? I don't know. They're looking like it, though. Patrick Kane, assist from Dylan Larkin, helps my fantasy teams, but also 5 straight wins for the Red Wings. After finding their coach, they looked terrible most of the year, and all of a sudden this team is 500, and they're getting back in the mix. It's nice. But before we get to that game, let's talk about the late games. Let's get in the late games for anybody who wants to, anybody's looking to bet, anybody's looking to get crazy on the late games. We always try to go to give those to you first. So let's jump into those. Flames versus the Ducks. Flame 18-14-7, Ducks 17-18-4. That game starts here in about 10 minutes, and then the Golden Knights 27-9-3 against the 13-23-6 Sharks. They're about 40 minutes out on that one. What do we got, fellas?
Well, Aaron, I'll take Calgary and Anaheim if you actually wanted to talk about Vegas and San Jose. But like I said, Calgary starts here in 10 minutes. Anaheim's a home dog, and honestly, you should really be on Anaheim here at plus 124 on the money line at home dogs. They've been on a little bit of a roll of late here. I think they've let's see here. Anaheim, I don't know how. I want to say they beat some really damn good teams of late. so I don't have it in front of me. All I actually know is they're on a little bit of a roll. I just know that. I think they've won 4 of 5. Okay, so
Hey, and
4 or 5.
Jamie loves the Mighty Ducks, right?
Yeah,
His
yeah,
favorite, whatever. So we have to get on Anaheim tonight. That's just that is the rules. Jamie loves it. Brought it up. Now we have to get on Anaheim tonight.
Well, and honestly, they've been getting good goaltending. So they've had Dostal and actually Gibson, and Gibson's a little bit of a surprise right there. But they got a good 1A, 1B thing actually going on right now. Calgary, guys, I don't know if you've actually seen it. They're a really, really good home team, but they've struggled of late. I went back and looked, and since late November, they've been awful, and they've lost 3 or 4. The last 6 games, man, Calgary just can't score. That's their deal. So a little bit of news on Anaheim as well, and this may end up having some implications here for those in dynasty leagues and also in cap leagues. But Frank the Tank, Frank Vetrano, signed an extension, kicks in next year, another 3-year extension. And the funny thing is he's getting paid $6 million a year, but it's only going to be the $4.5 million AAV. Guys, he's doing the Bobby Bonilla thing. All right. So he's going to get
paid
the
money late. That's what
later, like much later.
Late.
10 years during retirement. He's going to get like 1.51 or $1.5 million a year for like 10 additional years. It's a new thing. I think. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Someone hook me up. Jorge, hook me up with a 10-year deal 10 years down the line, right? Let's do that one.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the Ducks are the only play here. Again, Calgary's been struggling. They have not been a good road team at all. Anaheim has really, really been rolling here, and I can't believe, again, they're the home underdog here right now.
Yeah, it's great, Toast. I had a nice little parlay going the other night. We were talking about it. It came down to Calgary, and I'm not that kind of guy. I'm not a cash out guy usually. And I was like, gotta cash out. I was like, It was 1-0, and I was like, ooh, I should get on this. As second they tied it, I was like, oh, I gotta get out. I gotta get out of Calgary because I felt bad. I was like, Vancouver's gonna come back. Now, luckily they only won, but I got the cash out. It was ended up being like $60 difference. So it was like a nice hit. So I was all over it. I was like, hey man, I'll eat the $60 for the guaranteed like $350 win. So I hit that and hit another one big on that. So that was nice. But yeah, Calgary was a team that I've liked betting on them lately. Until just recently. Recently, it's like, ooh, I've definitely spoiled on them a bit. Oh, we've got Jorge jumping in here. We got to tell you that we were telling you. I was smart for buying the New Jersey. Yep, that's right. Jorge says, you're telling me I was smart for buying the New Jersey, which is a Mighty Ducks throwback. Absolutely, Jorge. Nothing beats a Mighty Ducks throwback. That is absolutely. He said, I made sure to invest in the Caps and Ducks jerseys before the season. Investment warranted. Absolutely. Great call, Jorge. Got to get those jerseys. I tell you what, I think the Capitals have upped their jersey game.
They have.
Like one of their unis this year. I was like, man, these guys are coming out looking good. I like it a lot. I'm still thrown off by the orange Anaheim jerseys. They're still weird for me. Every time I see them, I'm like, I'm not sure who they are. When I like flip the channel on TV, I'm like, is that the Flyers? Like,
right, yeah.
Like,
I don't want to watch the Flyers.
It looks weird. It looks weird. It's like, are they the weird Flyers? Are the Flyers wearing like some strange jersey? I love the Anaheim throwbacks, so I'm all in on those. Good call, Jorge. Throwbacks are always the way to go. Aaron, jumping in on here, Vegas, a team we weren't sure about before the season, but holy crap, are these guys playing great?
Yeah, they look like they're cup contenders. Real quick though on the game, I know it's getting ready to puck drop there, but agree with you. The Ducks, they've been winning at home, but I'm going with player point parlay with Vetrano. Celebration of his contract, like you talked
I like
about.
it.
So he's over a point, and then Nazem Kadri. Now again, the Ducks have been playing defensively; they've been getting their goaltending. But Kadri had 6 points in 3 games against Anaheim last year. He's about a 50-50 kind of guy. Scores half his points on the road, scores half at home. So I'm going Kadri for a point and Vetrano for a point, and that comes in at just under plus 200. It's like a plus 191, something like that on DraftKings. So that's where I'm going. But I think you're safe if you say Anaheim's
I
going
love it.
to
So,
win that one.
Aaron, I just pulled it up on FanDuel. If you jump on FanDuel, take Anaheim to win, Kadri a point, and Vetrano a point. You can get it plus 530 right now for a 3-pick parlay.
I think that's
I like it. I'm in on
tomorrow
that. You
night's
talked me
dinner.
into it, sir. I'm into
Yes.
it. I'm in.
It's dinner for the whole family. You win that one. Sprinkle a little $20 bet on that, and you might be set.
I like it. I'm in on that one. So if you, for all you guys listening, a reminder, we're going Anaheim Ducks at home plus 130 right now on FanDuel. You can get 1+ point, no assist, no goal, just a point. Nazem Kadri for Calgary minus 164, Frank Vetrano minus 108. You put them all three together, you get a plus 530 currently on FanDuel. And I think it's something slightly similar to that on DraftKings. I think it's just a hair less on DraftKings, but it's pretty close.
Yeah, then we got to Vegas again, like you said. The Golden Knights just look, they're studs on that team. They look great. San Jose has been fun to watch as well. But last two games, Vegas versus San Jose, Vegas won 7-2, and then they won 6-3. So the bet, if they follow that pattern, the bet should be, or the final score should be 5-4. Vegas wins. I've got no problem. Now, I'm going to do it two ways. So I'm going to say that way is your correct score, which those never hit, obviously. If you got throw $1.50 on the correct score, and maybe you win 10. But I got no problem throwing the Sharks the 1.5 and taking Vegas on the minus 1.5. Haven't really parlayed it with something else I like, maybe an Eichel assist or something like that. Or, well, that's probably crazy. Maybe 2 assists for Eichel. I don't know. I'd have to look at those. But definitely the Vegas, if it's just, got no problem paying them, or maybe Vegas in a 3-way, even better. Parlay that with maybe a point or a shot or something like that on that, because I think Vegas, they're the real deal. They're a scary team to watch, scary team to play. It'll be fun playoffs again.
Looks like there's about a 25% boost on FanDuel right now, same game parlay for the late night game. So I'm gonna have to get one in here. Now I'm gonna have to get one in here as we're talking about this one.
Well, and JT, I'll add to that real quick in this Vegas San Jose game for anybody who has interest, because we're talking about those two games because those are the only games really here that we have left at our time of the podcast here. But the Sharks, hey, they're trying to go 3 in a row, and they just had 2 nice home wins against Jersey and Tampa Bay.
Plus 1.5.
Yeah, the plus 1.5 is actually looking pretty good.
It's minus 112.
I like the Sharks. They're a much better team at home by the style of game that they actually play. They play a little bit more open, a little bit more loose. I also actually like the over in this game as well. But Vegas, they've won the last 6 games versus the Sharks. We actually know that, but also too, Vegas has actually scored at least 4 goals in each of those games as well. So it just I like this, JT. I like San Jose for over 2.5 goals tonight at home, or you could actually just go the over. But if you want to do a safe play, I think again they're going to play more of a loose game. It's going to be a higher scoring game. Like San Jose to score over 2.5 goals, you could probably get it at close to even money.
All right, I'm getting the same game parlay together. I'm building it as we speak. I can get San Jose because Aaron said 5-4. That's what it's supposed to be after this one. You can get San Jose plus 1.5. You can get the over 6.5 when we know they've scored points. Right now, a 2-pick is plus 254. I need to throw a point or a shot parlay in this. What do we think? Who
cares about shots? Points.
Who do you like on points? Who would you like to get 1 point in this game, guys? Who do we like?
Well, I mean, you're not going to get much juice with Eichel. I mean, it's going to be probably
minus 430.
Yeah, I mean,
it kicks it up about 40. It kicks it from 254 to 311.
Not enough there. You're probably better to actually go ahead and go with a Macklin Celebrini point of any kind tonight with actually home. I think he's coming off a goal as well.
Celebrini is minus 120. That kicks it up to 343 with the boost to 428.
Yeah.
Kind of like that one.
Yep. Or you could just put the Ducks with it on the money line.
Oh, and then you can do Eichel.
Yeah.
You could actually do Eichel with Celebrini, Eichel a point, Celebrini a point. 1.5 plus 1.5 for San Jose, and the over 6.5. 439.
Yep.
With the boost, you can get the boost up to 549. I'm in on that, fellas. That's my bet. Plus 1.5 on San Jose, over 6.5 total goals. Eichel a point at minus 430. Celebrini at a point at minus 120. Put them all together, plus 439 with the boost, plus 549. I'm in. Locked in, fellas. That one's in.
I like that one a lot.
I like it.
Yeah, it's going to help as well with that over with George even goal. He couldn't save anything this year. I mean, with an 873 save percentage for the Sharks being traded over from Colorado and a 355 GAA. I mean, it's brutal right now.
How about Blackwood getting traded and then immediately signing a new deal? Like, I was a little shocked on that. I thought Colorado would give him some like room to see how good he was or nothing.
Here's the reason why they did that. Colorado gave up a second round pick. They gave up a second round pick in that deal. So you knew as soon as Colorado gave up a second round pick in that deal for a goalie that they actually had been doing their homework on Blackwood for a while, that he was not going to be the 1B. He was definitely going to be the 1, and Wedgwood's actually hurt now. So they believed in him, and they actually automatically, so you knew an extension was actually coming as well. So, I mean, and great for Blackwood. If you're a Blackwood owner out there, or maybe I was lucky enough to pick him up in our home league as soon as that actually deal went down and kind of capitalized on that. But if you have him in Dynasty, especially if we got to start 2 goalies, you kind of hit the jackpot there, because now he's going to play in front of his stud-laden, Colorado team. They're actually good on defense as well. They're going to protect their goalie. They're a winning organization. And Blackwood's got some talent. So now he's just got to be good. He doesn't have to be great. He's just got to be good, and he's going to get those goalie wins.
Yeah, Colorado, arguably the hottest team in the NHL, 8-1-1 in their last 10. So absolutely right, spot on.
Yep, and I think they're 10. Yeah, they've won 10 out of 13 as well, if I remember right.
Wow.
But
Man.
So they're rolling, man.
And
We just may talk about
Landy,
them here in a bit.
Yeah, I was shocked that.
Back? Wow.
What's
Yeah,
that?
I was shocked that the Devils gave up on Blackwood so early. I really liked him. I thought he was. We all know how it is. Like, goalies are so up and down year to year. They can look great. They can look terrible. I was just a little surprised they gave up on him as soon as they did. Kind of nice to see the Avalanche that they like him, that they're in on him. So I think a little less pressure there in Colorado. A lot of pressure in Colorado, but like less because the guy before you was so bad. I don't know. It's a little less pressure just because the guy before you was so bad. They're like, let's do a little bit better than him, and we'll like it.
The bar is low. You just got to get on that next rung above Georgiev, and you're fine. Yeah,
absolutely. So here we'll run down here around the ice as before we move on to segments. Oilers 4-0 over the Bruins. Stars ended up winning in OT over the Rangers 5-4. Blue Jackets with a 4-3 OT win over the Penguins. Lightning ended up winning 3-2 against the Hurricanes. Red Wings, like I talked about earlier, that 3-2 overtime win over the Senators. Currently, about 4 minutes left. Toronto up 3-2 on Philly. Winnipeg up 3-1 on Nashville with about 16 minutes left in that game. And Minnesota currently up 5-4 on St. Louis. About 16 minutes left in that one. Boys.
Hey, JT, real quick before we move on to this segment here. Matthew Nyes has actually got 5 goals now in the last 2 2/3 games. He had a hat trick 3 nights ago. Last night, he actually had a goal, and he's actually got a goal again tonight, holding to be the game winner as well, as the Leafs are actually in the Flyers. And again, shout out to the Blue Jackets. I posted on Twitter a couple days ago that my favorite team is the Hawks, as everybody knows. My second favorite team is Ottawa. The Blue Jackets have become my third favorite team, man, with all the Russians, the young Russians, and they're really doing something that nobody really expected them to do, and they got some awesome talent on that team. But they go into Pittsburgh tonight. Not that Pittsburgh's been lightened up. They're actually on Pittsburgh's been up and down, up and down. The Blue Jackets go in there and win in a shootout 4-3, and That is their first win in Pittsburgh in 16 games. They had actually lost 15 in a row at Pittsburgh. So how about that? And the Blue Jackets were the dog, of course. I mean, but the Blue Jackets, in my opinion, they're a better team than the Penguins. We all know that.
Yeah, Toast. The other day, monster Blue Jackets win in an OT. He had a 5-pick parlay for me. I was screaming on New Year's Eve in my basement. We had a party at my house. Everyone was there. They're like, "What random hockey game are you watching?" And I'm
Yeah,
like,
what's wrong with you?
because it went into OT, and it was like the one game I needed. I was like, if they win this, I felt good about the other games. Bam! Blue Jackets won it. Shootout. I was super pumped. Hit a monster parlay. Get me way back up on the year to start out the year. Huge. So I'm starting to become a Blue Jackets fan. Of course, you know how the algorithm is. They found me. They sent me an email today. Red Wings, Blue Jackets at Ohio Stadium in March. I sent you the link, Toast.
Yeah.
We might have to make that game. We might have to go outdoor at the Horseshoe in Ohio. My cousin Kirk lives there. I texted him today. I was like, we might be coming for this game. He's like, all right, let me know. I was like, all right. It's like, that might have to happen.
Nice.
All right, fellas, since I'm talking about it, hey, let's get some money.
Where's my money? You gonna give me my money? Where's my money, man?
All right, Toast. We had been in a little bit of a hole. Been struggling, and we have come on like gangbusters over the holidays. You, the Toast takes, have been smashing, especially, you know me, I love the long odds. I want to get crazy. Toast, you have been putting up these 3-pick players, 3 goals, crazy odds, and you have been crushing these lately. Gotta tell us what's going on with these, because they've been fire.
So I kind of I started to think, like, what's the type of algorithm you talk about actually I could put together where I could guarantee probably A, making my money last over a hockey season, and B, actually having fun with it where you're not stressing so much about it, like during the evening, just kind of watching your phone. Did my guy scored an assist here, shots props, which I hate, or are they going to cover here? Will they pull the goalie, and will that end up costing me the +1.5? You know, like, just putting something out there for, let's say, $5, and when you only bet $5 to actually win, let's say 500 or 450, you're not stressed about it at all. You're actually putting the bet in, you're letting it go, you're going on about your evening. You may check it every once in a while. You may even watch part of that game. So I started doing this 2 weeks ago, and I won't take too much time here because Aaron, I want to give you a chance here as well. But 2 weeks ago, I decided to go ahead and start paying 3-leg parlays for anytime goal scorers. And here's some of the criteria I'm actually using. There have to be 3. You don't make enough money on 2 goals, and 4 goals are too hard. 4-goal parlays for 4 players hitting are too difficult. 3 is your sweet spot. Okay. Also, every single leg's got to be around +300, 250 and above, but 300 and above. So you're actually looking to get the odds somewhere around +7,000 to +9,000. Here's another key you actually want to do. You want to pick 2 games that maybe start in the 6 or 7 o'clock hour. And then you want to pick a 9 o'clock game. I also target the games that are actually targeted and predicted to go over 6.5 goals, the 6.5 lines. You want to target the ones with a lot of scoring, right? Because you want to, hey, the more scoring, the more odds your guy could actually score. There's also some hidden gems out there. You can actually find a lot of players that are actually getting first-line deployment or even top power play deployment on certain teams, and the matchups right. And actually, DraftKings or FanDuel actually has a listed at like +375. You also go and see who's shooting a puck of late for these teams, and if they're actually on a little bit of a goal streak for them, maybe 2 in a row, like Noah Cates for Philadelphia a couple weeks ago. He had a little bit of a run. He went 5 games in a row with a goal, and he's a 3rd liner or even a 4th line center, right? But you get on these little streaks. So I went back and did the math today, and since 2 weeks ago, I've actually placed 18 of these bets, okay? 18 of them for $5 a piece. I have actually won $350, won 2 of them, and then I cashed out on 2 of them. And here's the reason why I cash out. Most betting sites will not give you a cash out option if the first 2 goals have actually hit, unless the first 2 games are over. They got to be over and before the 3rd leg starts. The way I'm looking at it is if I get a $5 to win $450 and they're offering me a $125 cash out, I just actually won 25 bets. Okay. So far, so good. Tonight's no good, but guess what? That's okay. I'm hoping once every week and a half, I'm either going to have a chance to cash out or I'm actually going to win. And so far, so good. It's worked out great. If you go look at Toast Takes every single day for the next several weeks, I'm going to, instead of just doing it, I'm going to go ahead and just put out maybe some goal scorers that have actually that are like targeted maybe plus 250, plus 300, or in a really, really good spot. And again, it's a lotto ticket, right? But it's a lotto ticket with some thought behind it. I mean, I've been putting my like Zucker. All right. I mean, so Zucker's actually playing for Minnesota right now. He's actually getting goals in bunches. You're also Michael Bunting. You're getting at plus 260, plus 270. He's been on a hot streak for Pittsburgh. Ross Colton is always a guy that can score a lot of goals, and he's usually around a plus 250, 60, 70, somewhere around there. Then look for the defensemen. The defensemen, they're actually starting to shoot the puck, and if you go look, and there's a lot of teams that give up a lot of shots on goal, especially from the point, and you can get these defensemen like Cale Makar. You can get Makar on any given day for plus 350. I mean, so I hit on Werenski the other day. He was a plus 410. He was part of one of my 3-leg parlays. Try it out. You guys are actually loving it. Again, I like it. The fact that it's 0 stress. You have no stress about actually watching the game. And if you lose, you're out $5. Who cares? So you're playing with house money at that point. So give it a try. Look at Toast Takes, guys.
You're just making your coffee at home instead of going to Starbucks, right, Toast?
There you go. That's exactly right, JT. Good point, my man.
Oh, lucky.
Aaron, anything from you on the gambling from lately? Like I said, me and Toast has been hitting these like crazy lately in our group chat. They've been on fire. Like I said, I like to take some of the crazy long odds bets. I hit a monster this week. Like New Year's Eve, I cashed out on the 1 bet on Calgary, and I hit another 5-leg parlay on another one. I was up $1,500 on New Year's Eve. I was like, let's go party at New Year's Eve. I kind of feel like we're swinging the momentum. I feel like we were just getting punched in the gut every day, just couldn't hit nothing. And all of a sudden I feel like we're turning the corner here. What about you?
Yeah, no, I love the strategy. Love the strategy. It doesn't take much to a couple of points I just want to echo or elaborate on that you made there, Toast, is look at the hot teams. Let's say the I know you had you mentioned some players that have gotten hot, but also too, you can look at it even if you don't want to take a deep dive into every game or every box score. Look at the teams. Montreal's been playing very well lately, and again, they're getting that production, like you said. Their bottom 6 guys are producing. Might be a good guy to throw in there.
Like an Armia, right? You can get
exactly. Yeah,
you get him at plus 500.
He was great in the game against Vancouver. I think a couple points maybe, but the other thing I wanted to say, you kind of started off with this, the shots on goal. Here's the thing about the shots on goal. I'm very anti that. I've watched games. It's typically what I'll do. I'll pick 2 games. I got 2 TVs that go side by side, and I'll watch them beginning to end. Tonight, you couldn't have missed on any game you got invested in. All these games were great. Like the one, I think, the Leafs just beat the Flyers 3-2. All these games went down to the wire. They're all a ton of fun to watch. They're not always like this, but betting wise or just sports, well, it looks like Minnesota just got another one too. They're up 5-4. Anyway, if you watch a game beginning to end and you do play one of those shot parlays, there's some of these shots that aren't getting counted. Like they look like they should be a shot.
Brutal.
They are brutal.
They are, and they're not counting them. I'm sitting there thinking, like, what the hell is going on? Why is that not a shot on goal? And I don't, I don't have time to go in and look at the rule book. So I'm done. I'm off that. I feel like it's just, again, I think, and again, they used to do this. I don't know that they still do it, but they used to let the teams count the hits, so Philadelphia, there's a guy on the bench that counts all the teams the hits that Philadelphia did. Well, guess what? When they get skunked 7-0, oh yeah, Philly had 50 hits. Did they? Or did they just get dumb?
Yeah.
They never. Well, so there's a flaw there. So
Aaron,
I totally.
You're right. This is kind of the dirty little secret. It's like every team has their own person that doesn't. The league doesn't have anyone that like really goes back and checks all that stuff. Because the same thing happens in football. I've had guys in my football leagues this year. They're like, how did that not count as a sack? How did that not count as a tackle? Like my IDP leagues. And I'm like, that was a sack. And I'll look at the stats the next day, and they're like 0 sack. I'm like,
yeah,
how did he not have a sack on that play? What are you talking about? I think you're right, man. We were loving these shot props like 2 years ago. Oh, they're gotten really sneaky. I just don't like them because again, you look at it and like halftime, you're like, how is that not a shot? And they don't give them a shot for it. It doesn't make any sense to me. I'm with you guys. I'm out on the shot props. I lost the shot prop earlier this year on Dylan Larkin, had 2 shots in the first period. I watched the entire game, and somehow he had no shots the rest of the game. I'm like, I've seen this guy shoot on goal multiple times since the first period. 0 shots on goal, and I lost the same game parlay, 5 or 6 leg parlay by him 1 shot, and he was over 2 shots, and he had 2 in the first period, nothing the rest of the game. I was like, nah, I'm out on shots, no more.
Yeah, if you want to be frustrated for the evening by the score, as well as actually feel like after watching a game you've wasted 2.5 hours just waiting for a puck to actually get it hitting a goalie pad, go ahead and bet shots. But I guess now betting shots is a complete waste of time.
Yeah.
And it's very, very difficult now. You might as well just go ahead and go with the goal scorers. Again, the odds are going to be a hell of a lot better as well, and have a good time with it. But I'm glad you brought that up with shots, JT. And JT,
before we move on, do we have any bets? We only have 4 games tomorrow. The games tonight are kind of like I said. We got the 2 late games. We got a few games coming in. Is there anything tomorrow we like? Is it before we move on in the segments? I know as the host, I've really pushed the show on long. We're going to go late tonight, folks. I'm sorry about that. But Toast, anything you guys like going in tomorrow? I think there's 4 games tomorrow.
Yeah, I like 2 of them. And I'll just briefly talk about 2 real quick so we can actually get going here. But Vancouver at Washington tomorrow. It's a 6:30 start. Vancouver, they've been having some major issues, man. Elias Pettersson and JT Miller, are they getting along? Are they not actually getting along? You can tell, kind of reading between the tea leaves, that they're not. Obviously, that's the way the media is actually portraying it as well. Demko's actually been out with back spasms. Quinn Hughes finally just came back. He had been out for a bit as well. I really think this is a good spot for Washington at home, of course. Capitals, they've won the last 4 or 5 versus the Canucks. And really, the Canucks have actually only won about 5 times, I think I counted, since December 1st. I like this. I like the over first period, over 1.5 goals. The Caps have actually been hitting on the over first period a lot. They actually did the other night as well. Hell, I think it was actually done in the first 4 or 5 minutes of the game. And I like Washington on the puck line. Washington's for real, man. And I didn't think I was going to be able to say that this year, but they are. And the other game, Colorado at Chicago. Of course, it's Colorado on the puck line. And it's Colorado over 3.5 team goals as well. Colorado won 10 of 13 here. They're rolling, as we were talking about before. And Chicago's a mess. It's an absolute, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. This team was not built to actually be good, but they were not built to be last in the league. This is embarrassing what's going on. And it really, it shakes you to the core as a Hawks fan, thinking that, are we going in the right direction in this rebuild? Is everything okay? The one thing I can actually say is if you actually go back and look at Bedard's last year, 61 points in 68 games, he's on a 7-game point streak right now. I think he's got like 95 points in his career, like in 110 games or something like that. that's really, really good considering the shit he's actually went through in the first 2 years in Chicago. So hold your head up high, Hawks fans. I need to tell myself that because they're eventually going to be pretty good. But right now, man, they are awful.
Yeah, Aaron, don't you feel like the Hawks were like at least giving you a hope last year? They were playing teams tough. They were like in the mix. They were losing, but you weren't like, oh, we got smoked. It kind of feels like they're starting to get smoked in some games. You're like, oh.
Yeah. I would say to be specific or to really hone in on what it is, like they're they're letting up a lot of goals. So you can say what you will about the goaltending. I don't neither one of the guys they have on the squad are future 1A guys, but their defense isn't bad. It's the forwards. They have no puck possession. It gets chipped up. It's not as bad of a decor as what you think. Vlasic's he's the real deal. Seth Jones has had a pretty good year. You've got some guys on the back end that are looking pretty good, and they're consistent. They're getting their ice time. It's the forwards that are they have no the puck's off their stick. They're one and done. There's no zone time. I don't know the stats on the zone time, but it's got to be lowest in the league. So, yeah, I definitely think what I expected is kind of what the Sharks have shown us this year. Now, again, they're horrible. They've got a terrible record, but at least the Sharks can, are showing us glimpses. So they brought in, Toffoli. They brought in a couple of Barclay, a couple of guys just like the Hawks did. But it seems like those guys out in San Jose are maybe gelling a little bit better, maybe actually stair stepping a little bit more than the Hawks. The Hawks feel like it was another teardown. So it's like last year we just pissed away a year. We're no better than we were. Now again, I'll eat my words if we get the 1-1 pick and we end up with Hagens, then fine, okay, it was worth it. But we'll see.
Yeah.
All right, let's forget about that talk. Let's get into some young fellas. We like the bright up and comers. Let's talk about some good stuff here, boys.
And you, young Skywalker, we will watch your career with great interest.
So this is our the future is bright segment. This one we talk about draft guys have already been draft prospects. They're showing out in NCAA, OHL, AHL. All these guys you need it like on your dynasty radar. If you haven't drafted these guys or not picked in your leagues, depending on how your league runs, these are guys you want to keep an eye on. Who do you guys have for us tonight here in this segment? Our shining bright stars.
Yeah, you guys may have touched on it last pod, but the World Junior tournament just wrapped up over the holidays. They do it every year. Canada was the host this year. USA won the gold, back-to-back gold, baby. So USA hockey. Canada looked terrible. They just they're
USA.
They're in dire straits up there, man. It's a way bigger deal. Obviously, anything hockey related, it's a bigger deal in Canada than it is the U.S. So again, it's got that tinge of the Packers-Bears rivalry there. When the Bears win, USA wins. It's like we get to now we're going to nonstop chirp about it. But so really the focus is from that showcase, and that's kind of what I look at it as is this showcase of future NHL talent. So first two guys that jump off again, it feels like we're just stroking off the Capitals tonight. This is a Capitals pod, but Ryan Leonard and Cole Hudson, just 10 points for Ryan Leonard, got the MVP, captain of the team, and then Cole Hudson, 11 points. Just two absolute stud. They're both going to be Capitals that probably next year. I know Ryan Leonard went back to BC. He went back to the NCAA. So did Cole. So I don't see them going to college another year. I think they'll be up on the pro team. So the Capitals with what are they, like 30-10 or 27-10, whatever they are. They got an awesome pipeline of young studs. These two U.S.-born guys are headed right to the nation's capital to go play there. So really looking forward to them. Again, these two probably have already been drafted. If you have a deep dynasty league or if you have a league like our home league, guys that are probably gone at this point. If they're not, they definitely have to be on your radar. Or if you have a redraft league even, that they're going to go high. I would assume in next year's redraft league, not high, but they'll be productive players. It would be good to take them, those 11, 12 pick maybe for those two. The last two guys I've got real quick here. They're both from Chechnya. Jacob Stansel, never heard of the guy, but he put in 7 goals in this short tournament. He's a 4th rounder for the Blues. So this guy might be a deep dive guy. Never heard of him. Don't know anything about him. He's a big body kid. He's playing with men over in the European League. So could be a guy that, again, this is what happens in this World Junior Classic. Somebody comes out, they have their coming out. Now you got eyes on them. They realize they're being looked at and they play well. And then the other guy, the other Chechnyan, Edward Sale, Seattle picked him. He was a 1st rounder. He was a pick, 20th pick, but he had a very, very, very big goal. He had a great tournament, and he again, one of those guys, highly touted. He's usually on everybody's radar, but when he showcases and he shows up in this big event, and he scores well, he plays well, a guy that's likely a real deal. If he's out there, great. Just keep him on that. He could probably sneak him if you're in a redraft, probably get him in last round or second to last round. If you're in a deep style fantasy league, he's probably gone. Or if you're in a banger / dynasty like us, he's probably gone. But if not, write him down. Remember him when your next draft comes up.
Or put him on your trade radar.
There
Get
you
ready
go.
to trade for that guy. Look at him. Maybe somebody in your league doesn't know what they have. Maybe they haven't been paying attention. You've been paying attention. You've been watching Around the Ice podcast, and they don't know. Go out there and offer a trade. Try to get those guys. Or like you're in a league where you're in a league that only have like 5 minor leaguers on your league. So it's like people are like really holding tight. There's a couple guys that have maybe slipped through the cracks a bit because you don't have a deep league. Maybe you can go out there and grab those guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Toast, you got anything for us?
Yeah, I got a guy by the name of Cameron Schmidt. Plays for the Vancouver Giants in the WHL. That's a pretty awesome name for a team there. I like that for the WHL. 17-year-old Canadian. He's a right-handed shot. He's a winger. He's going to be eligible for this year in the upcoming entry draft. So this dynasty draft for all the fantasy hockey managers out there, it'll be this next draft. You actually want to have this guy on your radar. Elite Prospects got him rated as number 8th player, and Dauber's got him number 20th prospect in this upcoming draft here. Last year, he actually played his first season for the Giants. He had 31 goals in 59 games. Pretty good. Pretty darn good against the WHL. But this year, he's got 28 goals in 32 games so far. He's pacing for 55 goals in 63 games. Here's what makes this guy unique. He's only 5'7", 171 pounds. Who's some other short guys you can actually think of? Like, hey, Cole Caulfield, Alex DeBrincat, Matt Zuccarello. They're all like 5'7", 5'8", short guys as well. Remember how Caulfield actually fell in his entry draft, and look at him now. Hell, DeBrincat was a second-round pick because of his size. Here is what Dauber says about him, and they usually don't put out words like this very often. Cameron Schmidt is electric. He is one of, if not the fastest and most dynamic player in this draft class. They said he projects as a top 6 scoring winger and has lethal power play producer. Despite his size, no trouble driving in the net, getting into high danger areas. He's more than willing to engage physically and good at getting underneath opponent's skin. How about that for a combination of a guy, man? This is a guy I'm probably going to be pissed off I actually mentioned on this pod here, because I can tell you for our dynasty draft coming up here, for our first rookie draft in the offseason, this is going to be a guy I'm going to want. Cameron Schmidt from the Vancouver Giants of the WHL.
Sounds like Brad Marchand. Yeah,
honestly,
replacement for Marshy.
Yeah,
he's got the same stature, the same piss you off attitude.
Yeah. Aaron, I bet you anything. This guy's fist is going to be running in some faces. I mean, that would be pretty awesome, considering he's so electric on the ice. Normally, you see these guys are not want to mix it up. They're actually not wanting to. And I mean, this is a guy that actually it sounds like he's playing like he's 6 foot 6'1". All right, and he's a winger, but he's 5'7", and again, electric. One of the fastest, most dynamic players in a draft class, Cameron Schmidt. And the only reason he's at number 20 by Dauber, and they admitted it, is because of his size. They think he'll slip a little bit.
Nice. I like it. We got a comment here. Scott, thanks for joining the show. I'm surprised Columbus is doing as well as they have at the halfway point of the season. Scott, we're with you. We did not see this coming from Columbus, but we've loved what we've seen out of him. Toast is, he's all over the Russians on that team. They look good. We're literally setting up a trip to go see the Blue Jackets here in the next couple of weeks. We're either going to go to the Red Wings game or the Blackhawks game with the Blue Jackets. But this is a team that's kind of fun, right? They're kind of nice. I like what I'm seeing out of them.
Yeah, Werenski, Voronkov, Marchenko, Chinakov's actually hurt as well. Monahan, Monahan, look at him coming in here. Thought he was going to be playing with his best friend. Johnny Hockey actually gets killed in the tragic, drunk driver incident for the car accident. Him and his brother as well. Monahan's actually coming in here. He's actually playing with Voronkov and Marchenko on that front line, man. All the Russians on that team, the young Russians as well. This is an exciting team to watch, and good for them. They've been through hell and back, right? And they've actually been through all of that. They had Patrick Laine, who actually didn't want to play for him anymore. He was always hurt as well. He's off to Montreal, actually having a really good season now. But, man, Columbus, this is an upcoming team. Watch Columbus. If anything, they're going to be fun. For the next 5, 6, 7 years, they're going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, and right now, as it stands right now, without the games at hand, but they're a wild card team now. They're 42 points, and then they haven't pushed Caden Lindstrom into the lineup. I think he might be hurt though too, but he's their big pick that they took in last year's draft. He's a giant, and he'll be producing at the big league level when he does get called up. So the future is, like you just said, Toast, 5-6 years. They got some prospects in the farm there too.
And real quick, let me just mention a couple of things here before we move on here for Columbus as well. I want you guys to hear some of these stats here. And again, you got Werenski's a 27-year-old. He's got 46 points in 41 games. Marchenko's a 24-year-old. He's got 45 points in 41 games. Voronkov's a 24-year-old as well. He's got 30 points in 33 games. And then we haven't even got to like Adam Fantilli, right? Fantilli's got 20 points in 41 games as a 20-year-old. Cole Sillinger is a 21-year-old actually producing as well. He's already got 96 shots on goal. You even got guys like Matthew Oliver that basically, he does a little bit of other 147 hits. What's there not to like about this team? They're just loaded with so much young talent, man. You gotta love what you see. And then I didn't get to Chinikov as well. He's been injured for about a month now, but he actually started off the season with 7 goals, 7 assists for 21 games, 55 shots on goal as well through those 21 games. They are absolutely loaded. I wish I was a Columbus fan right now.
Yeah, man, they're a great team to follow. We got another question here from Scott. He says, what platform are you guys using for your league? Used to use Fantrax, but don't know if that is still around. Fantrax, yes, absolutely still around. We use Fantrax. It's our preferred site. We used to be on ESPN and Yahoo leagues. We have moved our leagues to Fantrax. Toast, I'm going to throw this to you. Why do we use Fantrax? Tell them about all the great features that Fantrax has and why we decided as a group to move our whole league to Fantrax.
Yeah, so really the biggest thing for me is the draft. Actually having the color coordination of positions to be on the draft board as well. Also, if there's trades, there's allowing of trading of draft picks from multiple years in the future. You can set those however you actually want, and they'll slot those on a draft board for you. Especially if you're actually signing up to move your existing league to Fantrax, and let's say you have some pending trades out there or future draft picks. Even if it's your first year, you can set the draft board up and actually get all those picks slotted easily. Multiple scoring options as well. Scoring options where you wouldn't actually have that in other leagues, depending on whether it's head-to-head or whether it's actually cats. Or your traditional scoring leagues as well. A Dynasty, you can enter in cap. The list goes on and on. There's really, I sound like I'm a Fantrax spokesman here right now, but I'm just saying there's literally nothing you can't do. And I think this year we're actually paying $120 this year for the premium. And if you end up, that sounds like a whole lot, But when you actually have like $100 buy-in from only 10 teams and whatnot, we're happy to pay the fee. And I mean, you're paying just over $100 for all of that. So even if you weren't to buy the premium,
we discussed it, and you don't necessarily have to do the premium, but we have minor leaguers. We have all kinds of other things that are included in ours, so we have the premium because of that. So if you're die-hard Dynasty, yes. If you're not, just say you're in a redraft league, you don't have to buy the premium. Just get regular is fine. But the scoring options and the fact that you can change your lineup and how many starters, how many bench guys, how many reserves, IR spots. We just found out when we had ESPN, we just didn't have very many options. There was a couple options. You could barely adjust the scoring, and that was it. Like, we've been able to make huge changes. And when we were a keepers league for about 6-7 years. Yeah. I was going to say, we were a keepers league for quite a long time. We switched to a full Dynasty. And when we did that, we said we have to move everything to Fantrax to do the full Dynasty, the drafts, the trade of picks, the fact that you could trade during the draft and be able to pick a guy they actually track that. We had all kinds of issues in the past with drafts, which in just a keeper league, not a Dynasty league, but just a keeper league, trying to figure out how to draft with guys because we couldn't put draft guys in the positions that you kept them in. You can do that on Fantrax. So we're definitely, we're not trying to trash any other platforms, but we just prefer Fantrax. Just for hockey, there's just so many options, so many things you can do. And when you get heavy into it and you want it to be your league, you can really set it up to the way you want to set it up. So that's why we like Fantrax so much. Scott, thank you for the question. We really appreciate it. Hey, guys, let's bang. All right, this is our Bangers segment. This is what we talk about, Bangers League. This is our home league. Our home league that we're all in is set up as a Bangers League. Penalty minutes, hits, blocks are worth more. That's what a Bangers League is. We adjust our point scoring to get higher because we want defensive guys and those power forwards to count. Well, they need love too. They need some love. So we count those guys. So this is our Bangers League segment where we talk about who you need to be looking at picking up, trading for, and who's doing awesome in Bangers League segment. Guys, what do we got tonight?
Yeah, I mean, so far, the two resident Blackhawks fans, Toast and myself, we've been shitting all up and down the Blackhawks so far this pod. So I will say something positive, and my target for the Bangers League is going to be Nick Foligno, or Fliggy as his team calls him, captain of the team. Drops the mitts when he needs to. Drop the mitts in the classic, Winter Classic. But more so for the Bangers again. He's over 100 hits now with the last couple of games. He's at 107, pacing for about 200. It's not going to lead the league by any means, but he's going to get you those, 2.5, 3 points when he's not showing up on the score sheet. 10 goals, 17 assists. So he's not gonna set the world on fire. But again, just one of those guys. I think instead of like your in our league again, Bangers are at such a premium. This may be a guy, whether you're in a Bangers league or not, he may be most likely is a free agent. So he's one of those stopgap guys. If you're looking for a quick start, you're a little thin on starts, whatever it is, he's a guy you can play him for a couple of games and then forget him because God knows there's not a whole lot of reason to start any of the other guys on the Hawks other than Bedard. But maybe throw Fliggy in there in a couple of games. But that's my banger for this week is a hometown guy. One other reason to watch the dismal Hawks.
Yeah, Toast, you got anybody? Again, I've been looking at these guys. If you're at the point in the season where you have injuries, you're throwing guys on IR. Like I've got some guys piling up. I'm starting to hammer that waiver wire. I'm starting to look around. We're a Dynasty League. We only have so many moves, so you got to be very careful about how you're using your moves. But I'm starting to look there like who's out there, who's sitting that I can maybe pick up. Of course, I'm not picking up a superstar at this point. Of course, you're not getting them off the waivers. But who can just like help you win a week? Who can give you just enough points to put you over that edge. That's kind of what I'm looking at right now when I'm looking at my waiver wire.
Yeah, and I think speaking about waiver wire, JT, this is a guy, Ryan Strome for the Anaheim Ducks. It's not a guy I actually plan on ever talking about on this podcast, okay? But he's in a very unique position in Anaheim, and especially for a bangers league as well. It's not too sexy. But he does 7 goals, 16 assists for 23 points in 39 games. He does actually get you hits and blocks as well. Not a ton, but he actually is fairly consistent. He's on a pace, I'd say, for maybe block a game, a hit a game. Okay, so he just does a little bit of everything. 23 hits and 24 blocks this season as well. He's serviceable. All right. The Ducks are stacked with a lot of young talent. He's been hot of late as well. 2 goals, 5 assists, 4 hits, and 6 blocks over the past 6 games. And we'll have to kind of look and see what he does tonight. He's only shooting 9.6%. That's under his career average as well. So you expect him to actually do a little bit better. And you got to love the deployment. That's number 1 for him right now. He's centering line 1 with Frank the Tank and Troy Terry, who's their best player. And he also gets power play 1 as well with all of those guys and Leo Carlson as well. So the Anaheim power play, they are the 3rd worst in the league. You got to think there's better days ahead for them. Okay. And just knowing, that out west there, I actually was looking at the schedule. They have a lot of games left. If you're looking for somebody down the stretch, they have a sweet, sweet schedule come up. And you always get those West Coast teams that play on the Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays, the off days as well. It would be a nice guy to stream for a couple of weeks, especially if you have those injuries that are actually mounting right now, just looking for somebody serviceable. Go ahead and go out there and get Ryan Strome. You will find him available. He's still under 20% rostered on Fantrax.
So I just looked it up. He has 7 points in the last 5 games for Anaheim.
Yeah. Yep.
Nice.
7 points in the last 5 games. The guy is on a 5-game scoring streak. He's been pretty tough. If you're in, we'll talk about this. If you're in a Cats league, he does do face-offs as well, but he does get you a couple hits and blocks. He's not going to get you a bunch, but he'll get you a couple here and there. Hey, I'll take that 0.5 points whenever I can get it. I'll take that half a point. Just keep racking them up. All right, that's going to do it for us for our banger segment. Now let's head on to the Categories League.
The category is...
So this is our Cats. We talk about Cats leagues, categories, where you go, who to pick up, who to do. Obviously, Bangers League, head-to-head, category leagues, all a little bit different. Now, some of these guys are going to cross everything. You're going to want them in every league. And other guys, you're not. So, but we talk about everything for everybody who's in different leagues. How about the Cats leagues, guys? Who we got to talk about this week?
It's funny. That's a good segue. No, we did not plan that. But what you just said, JT, some of the guys you wanted both categories. I got the same guy in the Cat League, Nick Foligno. So he's getting more. So yeah, he's good in Bangers League. He's good in the Cat League. When I did a deep dive on his last few games, that just kind of scratched the surface on him a little bit. So I took a little bit more, started looking at his split stats, his home, his away, all this and that. But his face-offs, when he was center 1, line 1, Columbus back in 16-17, about 700 face-offs a year. So vast majority of the draws, that's usually your line 1 center. He's on pace for that. So he's getting those situational face-offs for the Blackhawks. Nobody can snap back a draw on the Blackhawks. So here I go shitting on him again. But Fliggy can. He's just over 50%, so it's not going to blow anybody out of the water. But he's definitely on pace. They're putting him in those situational face-offs, those draws in their zone. And then, of course, the special teams. He's a penalty killer. He's on a PP. I don't know if it's 1 or 2, but anyway, he's out there and he's snapping draws. So he's on the upswing of what looks to be another career high in face-offs taken. So again, if you're in that Cat League, face-offs usually one of those things. He's going to do better than 50%. Not that the standard, to win 60% of your face-offs, just insane. Those are, Crosby, Jonathan Taves type numbers. So when you got somebody north of 50%, that's pretty good. So yeah, I'm looking at him in Cat Leagues again.
Toast, what about you? So that's a beauty. Some of these guys work in every league, some of them don't. I have to tell you, I slightly feel bad. I told John McGlynn in our league to drop him. At the beginning of the year. He had too many guys, and he had a bunch of guys on injury that he drafted. And he's like, "Oh, I got to get these guys off my IR." I was like, "Yeah, dude." I was like looking through his lineup. He's like, "Who do you think?" I was like, "Oh, I believe he's old. Like he's get rid of him." Dynasty league keeps them up and comers, and I'm like looking at the year. I was like, probably should have kept him. Maybe that's my bad. Sorry, John. I apologize, buddy.
Yeah, JT. I'll mention a guy, Adam Lowry, center, Winnipeg Jets, and Aaron. You talk about a guy like Taves, just a machine at the faceoff dot, right?
Yeah.
Lead the league constantly. This guy is above 50% every season. When I think about him, I think about the likes and the faceoff dot as the guys you've actually mentioned there, Crosby, and even Luke Glendening is always there as well as one of the best faceoff guys in the league. Right now, Lowry's got 361 faceoff wins at a 52% clip. I love the fact that he's actually on line 2 as well, and he's got Perfetti. He's got Ehlers with him there as well. Doesn't get any power play time, but honestly, he's got 10 goals and 12 assists for 22 points in 41 games, so he's pacing for right around 40 points. He's got 77 hits as well, so he's pacing for about 150 hits too. And a guy that's actually that good at the dot where if he keeps his pace up, he's going to have over 700 faceoff wins. So you're going to win a faceoff category just having him alone, and he's actually chipping in with the goals with 10 and right in the hits. So also he is their number 1 option for penalty kill. And that's another thing that's going to be good for those special team points. He gets about 4 to 5 shorthanded points each season. The last 2 years, if I was looking at the stats right, I remember he actually had 5 special team points or shorthanded points, that is, each season of the last 2 years. I mean, so does a little bit of everything. Even a cap league, man, not bad. He's got 1 more year left at $3.25 million AAV. If you're in a Cats league for a cap as well, this is a guy I'd be targeting. He's cheap. He can actually win you a category. He can help out in a couple more. He's 31 years old, so he may not be the best for Dynasty, but he's always a nice guy to have there to keep the seat warm while you actually have those 18, 19, and 20-year-olds in the minor league system on your platform like Fantrax, and that's actually why you do it. So, I don't know if it's Adam Lowry or Lowry, but this year it's definitely not Lowry. It's Lowry. He's actually having a real good year.
Toast, 1 assist tonight, +2, 1 shot on goal, 2 hits.
Oh, okay.
2 blocks, 12 face-off wins tonight. Boom.
That's
wow.
Yeah, I mean, how about it?
Hey.
Real good.
Hidden gem there.
That's a good call. That's a good call. He's sneaky, especially in a face-off. He's the number 1 face-off guy for Winnipeg this year. He's been by far their best guy in face-offs. And you're right, he's in there getting you just enough. He's getting you just enough, a little bit of everything. And again, right now, you want guys on Winnipeg. They're looking good. Like, here's the team is like, you got Hollaback, and you're like, okay, we got the number 1 goalie in the league. Okay, we're just going to shut down, play defense, 4 corners, shut it down, try to win every game, 2-1, 1-0. No, they're actually scoring goals, 5-2 tonight over the Preds. They're actually putting up goals, even though they have the best goalie in the league. I love it, man. I want all the Jets players I can get right now.
I'm with
you,
JT.
Final segment of the night. Let's make a deal, fellas. All right, let's talk fantasy hockey trades. What we got tonight? This is where segment we talk about either trades that have happened in our home league, other leagues that we're in, or possible trades we're thinking about making, or ones we've seen kind of out there to kind of see what people think. So before we jump into that, out of Rhythm Fantasy Sports, my guy, thanks for joining in. He's been in a bunch of our fantasy football podcasts as well here on Fantasy and Friends. Good evening, Jets. My 3 hockey leagues suck this year. how you feel. I've been trying to fight back here in hockey. Hockey's been better. I really hurt in football this year. So Out of Rhythm, if you haven't checked those guys out, they do a lot of good player profiles, especially for incoming rookie NFL draft. So if you're one of those guys, check out of Rhythm Sports. Great stuff over there. Thanks for checking us out and join us. All right, fellas, what do we have? And let's make a deal today.
Yeah, so I have got this trade proposal here for everybody to kind of chime in here. I'm very interested to hear what the listeners think on this. The format for this trade would actually be a redraft league. It's not salary cap. It's your standard head-to-head scoring. Team A acquires Steven Stamkos and Roman Josi, both from Nashville. Stamkos is center, left wing, right wing eligible. And Team B acquires Jacob Chychrun and Elias Pettersson. So this is really underperformers for underperformers this year. And Chychrun's actually been really, really good for Washington. I mean, especially for D-man, he's been better than Josi. And then Pettersson is, I mean, Aaron, I understand and I 100% agree with you. Like, Pettersson's a mystery, right? The issues we've actually had in the playoffs over the past few years can't really be counted on. This year, not getting along with JT Miller as well. He's underperformed. He got 10 goals and 18 assists. You're like, okay, that's not that awful 28 goal or 28 points to like 40 games, but that's not a guy you're actually paying to actually get. He should be well over a point per game. But again, who do you guys like on this? You get Stamkos and Josi, and another team gets Chychrun and Elias Pettersson.
Aaron, you start on this, and I'll chime in after you.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with the latter there. The only reason I will say is this is a great debate to have, because Pettersson, like you said, JT Miller, they're fighting whatever. Maybe they can get past their differences, maybe they can't. There's rumors that they're going to trade one of them. There's offers being made. Again, it's all rumors at this point. I don't know that they would. I mean, Pettersson's got that huge contract he's on now.
Yeah.
I can't imagine in a million years any team ever trading JT Miller, especially one that currently has a playoff spot. But if it looks like it could, yeah, I don't know. I just don't see JT Miller going anywhere. So if one of them's going to go, I think it's Pettersson. So there's some risk there with Pettersson, but I just don't like being handcuffed with the crap stained Nashville Predators. I mean, they got the wheels beat off them tonight by Winnipeg. They can't get it out. So that'd be my I guess deciding factor if I'm that team. So I think that team that gets Pettersson and Chychrun, and again, we talked about them at the beginning of the pod. You know, the Caps are the it team. Somebody's going to get those 20, at least minimum of 23 more assists, because that's what Ovi needs to break the record. I think it's 23. Chychrun's he could get half of them. Maybe he'll get all 23 of them. But you got more of an upside with that guy. He's having a good season back there. So yeah, I'd definitely go the latter of those two.
Yeah, and Aaron, I'm with you as well, because honestly, I don't like actually taking on two Nashville Predators on the same team in the same trade. I mean, things go south, they can go real south. And you gotta love the supporting cast of Chychrun there at Washington, as well as Pettersson there in Vancouver as well. The supporting cast is a little bit better. Players for players, they're turning in the same amount of points and same amount of stats, put it that way, the same amount of fantasy points. But I agree with you. The upside of Chychrun and Pettersson is greater than Stamkos and Josi. Whoever actually traded away Chychrun and Pettersson just got extremely, extremely frustrated.
Yeah, I'm with you guys on that. I don't want to be acquired. I've got Josi in our home league, but I don't want to add multiple Predators at this point of the season.
One's enough.
One's enough. I don't want multiple Preds on my team. Chychrun, I always feel like I jack his name up, because every time I look at it, it looks like a totally different name to me than how you say it. But I like him. And then Pettersson, I mean, has he been great? No, but you got to see the upside for him. If he gets traded, he can end up in a new spot and blow up. I don't know. So I'm with you guys. I'm out on the Preds, guys. I'm taking my shot at the other two. That is gonna do it for us tonight. One more out of Rhythm Fantasy Sports. Appreciate all you guys do to help everybody in the sports. Hell of an awesome for it's also for average Joes like me. He says at hockey, love what you do in fantasy football side of things. We try to do it. We're all fantasy football players. We're all hockey players as well. It is, like I said, it's hockey season, baby. We got fantasy football's done. Now we're all concentrating on hockey. We appreciate everybody joining in tonight. Check us out every Tuesday night the rest of the season. We'll be bringing you fantasy, real life hockey, and gambling. All those things to you, our favorite things. We're getting hot, folks. We've been getting hot. Do not fall asleep on the toast takes. Get on the toast takes. Follow Toast at Toast Clark. He's been hammering those toast takes lately, killing it on the money side, winning bets. You can follow me at JT Orange. You can follow Aaron at Titch, Tich, Titch 4141. And then please go out there, follow Fifth Hockey on the X, follow Fantasy and Frames, go to the YouTube channel, follow us, hit the notification button, please. It always helps us. If you can leave us a review and tell us that we're awesome, we take it. We appreciate it. That'd be great. So any final words from you guys before we shut this thing down?
I just want to echo that, JT. We have seen a
Oh, and then Toast freezes off, raises goes out.
Hey, sorry, I'm back.
Oh, he's back.
Yeah,
He's back.
We have seen a major spike in our viewership over the last couple weeks of our show. If you guys enjoyed the show tonight, and I hope you did, the numbers actually stayed pretty consistent here throughout the evening. So I assume you actually at least thought it was average at best, if not better. Pass the show on to somebody else. We'd love to actually double our viewership and actually really gain some momentum. It's going to help us. It's actually going to help our viewers as well. But we're gaining momentum on this show. I think we got a good show here. Really appreciate you guys tuning in every week, and cannot wait to do this again next week.
Yeah. And anybody local, the Oilers are in town this weekend. Oilers Hawks. I'll be at the game, so
Nice.
Let's go watch. If nothing else, we can say we saw McDavid in his prime. So hopefully
that's the way to do it.
Chicago, let's do it. Let's get out.
That's
there.
the way to do it. I use it whenever the Bulls were bad or the Pacers were bad. I'd always buy tickets whenever the opposing team had like a stud in town. I was like, let's go to the game now because we can see that guy.
That's right.
That'd be great. Hey, and if anybody's either going to the Blackhawks Blues or Red Wings Blues game coming up here, we're probably going to be there. We got to work out the details, but I think we're going to be at one of those games for sure here coming up in the near future. But thanks for everybody for joining us. This has been Around the Ice on Fantasy and Frames, a hockey podcast. We appreciate everybody for joining us. If you feel like it, stick around. Me and Benny D are going to be on next here. We're going to be talking college football semifinals on the Stew with JT Brew. That's coming on here in just a couple minutes on Fantasy and Frames. We appreciate you guys. Thanks everybody for joining us tonight. Had a great time. Great show, fellas. We'll talk to everybody next time. See you guys later.